Hello and welcome to Thursday Talk, the casual improvised youth service that we do here on Instagram. So yeah, on the subject of being improvised, every now and then we do we run into a problem where it's the day of the stream and I don't know what to talk about, and that is the case for today. So I thought I was gonna go in one direction, but then I realized that was not a good idea. So I started like backpedaling and trying to find this new message as quickly as I could, because what I thought I was going with did not, and then I just sort of figured that I would say whatever came to mind, and that actually led to the subject, which today I'm going to be talking about Balaam, a Balaam story, specifically in Numbers chapter 22. Before I get into that, I'm just going to quickly show up the fact that today my hands are not grabbing on and I'm on like animated. Woo! That's because I bought this, what do you call it, tripod, and I figured I would use it on here. It also came with a ring light. That's what you guys seen right here. So it has a ring light. I'm not using the ring light today. I'm just using the tripod, and I have to say, looks pretty nice. Looks pretty nice. Hopefully this will make for a better video, or maybe it'll be worse. I don't know. Only one way and see. I probably should have used the ring light because it is not flattering, the light. I also got a new headset which I'm not using right now, as you can see. But I might use it in future videos. So we'll find out. You know, you sometimes gotta buy stuff to help improve quality. Not that it's necessary, but you know, it helps. So with that said, today we're gonna dive into the book of Numbers, chapter 22, and to read Balaam. And where did I leave my notes? Hang on a second. Alright, no, wait, I was over here. So Numbers chapter 22, verses 4 through 6 is where we're going to start. Numbers chapter 22, verses 4 through 6. Okay, hang on, my headset's like slipping out of my ear. You don't want that to happen. And it reads, And Moab said unto the elders of Midian, Now shall this company lick up all that are round about us, and the ox licketh up the grass off the field. And Balak the son of Zippor was king of the Moabites at that time. He sent messengers therefore unto Balaam the son of Beor to Pethor, which is by the river of the land of the children of his people, to call him, saying, Behold, there is a people that come out of Egypt. Behold, they cover the face of the earth, and they abide over against me. Come now, therefore, I pray thee, curse me this people, for they are too mighty for me. Peradventure I shall prevail, that the way that we may smite them, and that I may drive them out of the land. For I wot that he whom thou blessest is blessed, and him who thou cursest is cursed. So what we see here is that as the Israelites are, under Exodus from Egypt, they are approaching the kingdom of Moab, and the king basically notices them, sees that they are mighty in numbers, and he fears for them. So they call out for Balaam, because they believe that whoever Balaam blesses actually do get blessed, and whoever he curses are actually cursed. So they believe that Balaam has a lot of power. So they call him up, and they're like, hey, Balaam, we need you to do us a favor and curse this nation that is, coming towards us. So verses 8 through 9, And he said unto them, Lodge here this night, and I will bring you word again, as the Lord shall speak unto me. And the princes of Moab abode with Balaam. And God came unto Balaam, and said, What men are these with thee? Verses 12 to 13, And God said unto Balaam, Thou shalt not go with them, thou shalt not curse the people, for they are blessed. And Balaam rose up in the morning, and said unto the princes of Balak, Get into your land, for the Lord refuses to give me leave to go with you. All right, so Balaam is basically told that, hey, we need you to help. So he's like, sure, spend the night at my house while I get into contact with God. And so God asks them, who are these people who are with you? He tells them, hey, these are the kings and princes of Moab. And then God says, you're not going to go with them because that people, the Israelites, they are blessed. So I feel like this is interesting because this is another one of those biblical characters that was very, very close to God, to the point that God speaking to him directly wasn't a big deal for him. The princes of the nation come to him because they understand that whoever he blesses is actually blessed, and whoever he curses. So they understand that there is a power with him. And now we find out that he doesn't serve pagan gods. He serves the one true God. And then he's like, yeah, sure, just spend the night. And hola GPS Internacional. So he spends the night, and he pretty much realizes that, hey, I'm going to speak with God and I'll get right back to you. And he does just that. He spends the night, and then God tells him, no, you're not going to go with them. So again, he was very close with the Lord, and the Lord speaks now directly to him, saying, you are not to go with these men because that group of people is blessed. So we're going to continue reading verses 16 through 19. And they came to Balaam and said to him, thus said Balak the son of Zippor, let nothing, I pray thee, hinder thee from coming unto me. For I will promote thee unto very great honor, and I will do whatsoever thou sayest unto me. Come therefore, I pray thee, curse me these people. And Balaam answered and said unto the servants of Balak, if Balak will give me his house full of silver and gold, I cannot go beyond the word of the Lord my God to do less or more. Now therefore I pray you, tarry ye also here this night, that I may know what the Lord will say unto me more. So once again, the princes go back to Balaam, and now they're pretty much trying to convince him, we will give you anything that you want. Just please curse his people. And Balaam says something that's very true, right? Even if you offer me a house full of silver and a house full of gold, I cannot go against the word of the Lord. So he's saying there is no price that you guys have that can cause me to go against the word of God, which is a good thing. But then Balaam says, hey, spend the night here again, and I'm going to talk with God to see what happens. And I feel it's interesting because God already told him no. He straight up told him, no, you're not going to do it. And he Balaam very eloquently tells them, no amount of money will cause me to go against the word of God. But maybe God changed his mind. It is interesting. He's considering it, but he doesn't realize it. So we continue verses 20 to 21. And God came unto Balaam at night and said unto him, if the men come to call thee, rise up and go with them. But yet the word which I shall say unto thee, that shalt thou do. And Balaam rose up in the morning and saddled his donkey and went with the princess of Moab. So God speaks with him again in the night, and he's like, yeah, look, if they call you, you can go with them, but understand that you're only going to do what I tell you to do. You're only going to say what I tell you to say. So Balaam thinks great news, and he gets ready to set sail. And now we're going to read the rest of the chapter. I'll be stopping intermittently. So verses 22 through 41. And it reads, and God's anger was kindled because he went, and the angel of the Lord stood in the way for an adversary against him. Now he was riding upon his donkey, and his two servants were with him. As the donkey saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way, and his sword drawn in his hand, and the donkey turned aside out of the way and went into the field, and Balaam smote the donkey to turn her into the way. But the angel of the Lord stood in the path of the vineyards, a wall being on this side and a wall on that side. And when the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, she thrust herself onto the wall and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall, and he smote her again. And the angel of the Lord went further and stood in a narrow place where there was no way to turn either to the right or to the left. And when the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, she fell down under Balaam, and Balaam's anger was kindled, and he smote the donkey with a staff. So we see now that God is very upset that Balaam chose to go with intent to curse. the people of Israel. So God sends an angel with a sword to end Balaam's life. And so Balaam can't see the angel, but Balaam's donkey can. So Balaam's donkey is trying to avoid the angel in order to spare Balaam's life. But Balaam, not seeing the donkey, is mad at it and he keeps beating it. And eventually it's at a point where the donkey can't advance without going by the angel. So the donkey just stops, and then Balaam starts beating the donkey with a staff. So I'll continue verses 28. And the Lord opened the mouth of the donkey, and he said unto Balaam, What have I done unto thee, that thou hast smitten me these 3 times? And Balaam said unto the donkey, because thou hast mocked me, I would there were a mere sword in my hand, for now I would kill thee. So while Balaam is beating the donkey speaks, right? God gave voice to the donkey, and the donkey says, What have I done to you that you're beating me? And Balaam says, You're making a fool out of me. If I had a sword in my hand, I'd kill you. Now keep in mind that the whole reason why the donkey was acting this way was to stop Balaam from being killed by an angel with the sword. And Balaam is basically telling the donkey, if I had a sword, I will kill you. So that's very ironic. So let's continue. Verse 30. And the donkey said unto Balaam, Am I not thine donkey, upon which thou hast ridden ever since I was yours unto this day? Was I ever want to do so unto thee? And he said, No. Then the Lord opened the eyes of Balaam, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way, and his sword drawn in his hand, and he bowed his head and fell flat on his face. So at this point, the donkey is like, Hey, what have I ever done to hurt you? You know you can trust me, etc., etc. And then the Lord God allows Balaam to see what was going on, and he sees the angel in front of him wielding the sword, and he immediately throws himself on the floor. Verse 32. And the angel of the Lord said unto him, Wherefore hast thou smitten thine donkey these 3 times? Behold, I went out with you, because thy way is perverse before me. And the donkey saw me, and turned from me these 3 times. Unless she had turned from me, surely now I had slain thee, and saved her alive. So at this point, the angel is talking, and he's saying, Look, you beat your donkey 3 times, and if it wasn't for her, I would have killed you by now. Verse 34. And Balaam said unto the angel of the Lord, I have sinned, for I knew not thou stoodest in the way against me. Now therefore, if it displeaseth thee, I will get me back again. So Balaam now understands that he should have never left with the princess of Moab in the first place, right? He understands that the will of the Lord was for him to not go. So he tells the angel, Look, I understand now that I'm wrong in going with them. So if it makes things all right, I will go back home. Verse 35. And the angel of the Lord said unto Balaam, Go with the men, but only the word that I shall speak unto thee, thou shalt speak. So Balaam went with the princes of Balak. And when Balak heard that Balaam was come, he went out to meet him unto the city of Moab, which is the border of Arnon, in which is the utmost coast. So the angel lets him go, and he said, No, you can go with the princes. I need you to go with them, but you're only going to say what God allows you to say. And so sure enough, Balaam meets with them. Verse 37. And Balak said unto Balaam, Did I not earnestly send unto thee to call thee? Wherefore camest thou not unto me? Am I not able indeed to promote thee to honor? And Balaam said unto Balak, Lo, am I come unto thee? Have I now... I don't like this old English, but I'll try my best. Have I now any power at all to say anything? The word that God putteth in my mouth, that shall I speak. So Balaam informs him, like, Hey, God allowed me to come, but I can only say what he allows me to say. Verse 39. And Balaam went with Balak, and they came unto Kirjath-Huzoth, and Balak offered oxen and sheep, and sent Balaam to the princes that were with him. And it came to pass on the morrow that Balak took Balaam and brought him into the high places of Baal, thence he might see the utmost part of the people. So I'm going to stop right here because I got to sneeze. Wait, do I have to sneeze? No, I sneeze. That's Arbor. Oh, wait, no, he's coming back. Does that ever happen to you guys where you feel like you're gonna sneeze, but you hold it in because you don't wanna, you're looking for the right time, and then when the right time shows up, you can't sneeze? That's me right now. So, this is Numbers 22. And I feel like it's an interesting lesson because sometimes God says no, but we're like, yes, maybe? And the road to the yes, maybe doesn't lead somewhere fine. Balaam almost lost his life. Let me move closer. Balaam almost lost his life. He did it, and it was not for his donkey. He wouldn't still be alive, or he wouldn't have still been alive. So when he realizes the error of his ways, he falls flat on his face. He throws himself on the ground. He's asking for forgiveness. He's like, please, look, I can make things right. I will go back home if that makes it okay. But the angel is like, no, I need you to go with them now. But you're only going to be able to say what God says. Which, interestingly enough, is what God told Balaam the second night. You will only be able to say what I let you say. Now, I'm not going to read the next 3 chapters because they are, in fact, very long. But here's the summary of what happened. They get to the mountain, and when Balaam tries to curse the people of Israel, nothing but blessings come out. So the princes of Moab, they get very upset. Again, they believed in the word of Balaam. So if Balaam blessed someone, they believed it was going to happen. So here they're seeing Balaam, well, he's blessing them. And so they're upset because they didn't call him all the way there to bless them. They called him to curse them. And arguably, Balaam is essentially humiliated in front of them. And God ends up sending a very powerful message, right? Because the whole thing about you can't buy me, well, Balaam was willing to be bought, but the Lord was not going to be bought. And Balaam's blessings came from the Lord, and his curses came from the Lord. So it is very interesting. Again, the relationship with Balaam and God, I feel it's definitely unique. God spoke to him directly. He understood the principles of God. He put God in first place, seemingly. Yet he was still sort of trying to work it out with God. Maybe you change your mind. When the donkey spoke to Balaam, Balaam didn't think anything of it, right? He just responded right back to the donkey. It's almost as if he had seen animals speak to him before, or at least this was just nothing out of the ordinary. So it's interesting. I wonder what Balaam's life was like, because we don't really know much of him other than these accounts that we read of him in the Bible. So yeah, he was just completely unaware. So they get to the mountain, and God continues to use them, right? Even though God would have preferred for him to stay home, God uses Balaam to send nothing but blessings. And 3 times blessings and prophecies come out of Balaam's mouth until the people of Moab realize that no, this is a waste of time, right? You can't be bought or sold. And so that is I feel like a beautiful redemption story for Balaam, right? Because he almost got killed, but then God used him to do blessings because Balaam was a man of God. Now, the interesting thing about Balaam is that his story doesn't end there. He apparently still tried to curse the people of Israel, but being sneaky, he throws this huge party for the Israelite camp in which he brings all sorts of sin into it, because he understood that if the people of Israel started sinning, they might fall out of God's favor and God would curse them. So he tries that, and it's somewhat effective. People start dying, and at the end of it all, a lot of Israelites and Balaam end up being killed. And it was unfortunate because of this, once Balaam saw that his life was spared, he should have just appreciated that and moved on. But sometimes we understand the difference. Sometimes we understand that we shouldn't sell out. We shouldn't sell out God. But there's just that little bit of pride in us that keeps us considering it. And that was, I feel like, the downfall of Balaam. He made the wrong choice. He could have just nipped it, right? Nope. I can't be bought or sold with all the gold and silver in the house. And he should have just let it there. But he didn't. He's like, you can't buy me, but stay the night again, and maybe God will change his mind. And then he tried. And so that consideration to go against God, or to go against what God had told you, ultimately led him his life. But it wasn't overnight. He had so much time, but he couldn't let it go. Whatever these princes of Moab were offering him, it was just too much for him. And again, these things are improvised. This Thursday talk is very much improvised. I didn't realize I was going to speak about this until like an hour ago. I didn't really have much time to prepare, but I still wanted to do something and to do the practical application. Sometimes it's the same way with us in life, right? Either it's a job or a relationship, or just something that we know is not good for us, right? And we know the principles of God, and we understand that, hey, we shouldn't do this. It's wrong. And we know it's wrong. And we know we're not going to fall for it, but we dance around it. We dance around it, we get close to that fire, and little by little, over a long course of time, it consumes us until eventually we're lost. And yeah, so I guess the object lesson to take from this is that if you know something in your life that's like this right now, turn away from it. Just nip it in the bud. End it. Move on. Keep following the Lord, and be happy. And yeah, so I guess that's tonight's Thursday talk. Again, pretty much improvised. I'm using the tripod now. Do I like the tripod? I don't know. I like the stability of the tripod, but I kind of miss the movement that I get. I don't know. Either way, let me know what you guys think. With that said, take care, and God bless each and every one of you. Bye.